Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to present an important environment issue, which is global warming. Our title for today's presentation is The Science Behind the Greenhouse Accumulation by Group 6. I'm SENIA, ANAK NYAWAI, and there's my members. They are RUMIA ANAK BRIDI, Lily Wong Jin KIONG, Bridget Wise anak HILARY, and the last member are GRACIELLA, KRISTINE, MORKIS, ZUMAN. In this presentation, we talk about global warming. This is our table of contents. Its content introduction, and our content was deforestation, forest fire, industrial activities, overpopulation, and the last point was vehicle emission and conclusion. For the introduction, the global warming is the gradual increase in the Earth's average temperature over time. This happens mainly because of the increase of greenhouse gases in the atmospheres, such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These gases trap heat from the sun inside the Earth's atmospheres, making the Earth warmer than usual. This is also known as the greenhouse effect. Global warming is a very serious issue because it affects the whole world. It changes weather pattern, causes extreme weather events, and damages the environment. For example, we are now experiencing more frequent heat waves, heavy rainfall, and a rising sea level in many parts of the world. There are many human activities that contribute to global warming. Today, in this presentation, we will focus on 5 main causes. First point, deforestation. Second, forest fire. Third, industrial activities. Fourth, overpopulation. And the last point, vehicle emission. These causes play an important role in increasing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. When a tree cut down, when the forest burn, when the factory release smokes, and when the vehicle produce exhaust gases, all of these actions add to the problem. This is why it's very important for us to understand these causes so that we can take action to reduce it. In this presentation, we will explain more about the causes so that we can acknowledge this problem to make Earth more safe environment for us. If we continue to ignore this problem, the Earth will become warmer and more difficult to live in for the future generation. Now we will move to the first point, which is deforestation. I will pass this point to my other group member.
Next, previous slide, please. Okay. Now let us proceed. Thank you, SENIA, for that nice introduction. Now let us proceed to the next section, which is I will let us to explain more in detail about our topic for today, which is the greenhouse gases accumulation. So there are many factors for this accumulation, which is one of them. I will present it. And the major factors is the deforestation. So first of all, we need to know what is deforestation. This is an activity that is done by clearing land, usually for agricultural or industrial use. So this is a common nowadays that we can see everywhere. There are new residential areas or commercial areas that were built, and also a new paved roads for us to travel in to many destinations within the short time. And we can also see current Korean world issue, the real world issue where unfortunately it still keep on going, which is illegal logging. This activity is an unauthorized clear operation that is outside environmental regulation, that because it is a major contributor, a major driver for global warming, for the greenhouse gas accumulation. So that brings us to the next part, which is how exactly deforestation can accelerate more for this matter. So it is all started from the plants itself. In the forest, the green vegetations they are the main contributor to stable the Earth's thermostat, to stable the atmosphere. And one thing that they do is a biochemical process which we all know as photosynthesis. So this process is involve carbon dioxide gas and also oxygen gas, where the plants, the green vegetation, will absorb the carbon dioxide that comes from us, because we breathe out carbon dioxide gas, and also there are any other carbon sources which can come from the industrial activity, and also the vehicle that emit many pollutant gas, which including this carbon dioxide gas. So when plants they undergo this regulation, they absorb the carbon dioxide and they will release clean oxygen gas to the atmosphere. So we as a human that live in the earth, oxygen gas is essential for us to live and to grow or to thrive. And also most Earth's population rely entirely on oxygen so they can function. Therefore, when we do this mass deforestation, which like an example, the illegal logging, this can accelerate more to the greenhouse gas accumulation. They will rise up the temperature in the earth. So this is all because day by day we can see that there are less forests, which they are the main they play a vital role in absorbing the carbon dioxide. So they are a vital contributor, to vital important role for this method. So when there are less trees, there are less carbon absorption. So when we keep on progressing in our life, then we have less fresh air to breathe. So this brings us to the why is it a necessity for us to protect or to reserve the forest. So as I mentioned earlier, trees they play an important role. They act as a carbon sink, which also they call as the earth sponge. So when deforestation happens, they can thicken the thermal blanket in the ozone layer of the earth, then intensifying the greenhouse effect. So when carbon dioxide, there are more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that were trapped in the ozone layer. This is not only contribute to the global warming, but also they can also contribute to the environmental destruction. So they also affect animals that live in the forest, which they can lose their natural habitat, and also might eventually go extinct. So deforestation is play a major role in this greenhouse gas accumulation. So I will pass to this is all for my point, and I'll pass to the next presenter.
Thank you as well for RUMIA for the presentation. So next as well, I will be presenting my part, which is the forest fires. So what are forest fires? So forest fires eventually is uncontrolled fires that burns forests and as well as vegetation. So forest fires are the fires that spread naturally and are difficult to control. They can burn large areas of forest and as well as grasslands, shrubs, as well as other vegetation as well. So these fires can last for days or even weeks, depending on the weather as well as the condition and fuel availability. So eventually, we can see that there are two types of activities that can cause these forest fires, which is one that caused by human activities. So human activities are one of the main causes of the forest fires. So we can see is that such as land clearing for agriculture most of the time, as well as plantation development, construction projects, and careless disposal of cigarettes that can lead and also start the fires. So in some cases, there are also farmers are using the fires as a cheap method to clear their land. So eventually, this will also spark the fire and also make the fire spread beyond the intended area. So eventually, there's also another causes of the forest fire, which is the caused by the natural events. So we can see here the natural events are such as the lightning strikes, which can also ignite the dry vegetation. So during hot and dry seasons, forests become more susceptible to catching up with a fire. So strong winds as well can prolong the drought, can also increase the likelihood of the natural fires spreading around the forest. And other than that, the forest fires can also release greenhouse gases such as the carbon dioxide, methane, as well as the smoke particles into the air. Burning vegetation releases carbon stored in trees and plants into the atmosphere. So carbon dioxide and methane are the greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change most of the time. So eventually, the smoke particles as well can remain in the atmosphere and can affect the air quality and as well as the climate. Other than that is on how these forests can contribute to global warming. So the forest fire can contribute to global warming is that the way the fires releases the large amount of greenhouse gases into the air. So when trees and vegetation burn, they can release the stored carbon such as the carbon dioxide as well as methane into the air. So these gases accumulate in the atmosphere and increases the greenhouse effect. So the large scale of forest fires can emit millions of tons of greenhouse gases. So other than that, smoke and gases trap in heat in the atmosphere. So eventually, greenhouse gases act as a blanket around the Earth. They absorb and also retain the heat that would otherwise escape into the space. This can also cause an increase in global temperatures over time. So eventually, burning trees reduces the number of forests available to absorb the carbon dioxide. So forests act as carbon sinks by absorbing the carbon dioxide during the photosynthesis, where the trees are also destroyed. So eventually, there are also less carbon dioxide that will be removed from the atmosphere. Thus, this allows more greenhouse gases to accumulate and also contribute to global warming. So eventually, there's also another things that contribute to this forest fire, which is eventually the strong winds that can spread the fires rapidly, where the increasing emission due to the wind supplies oxygen to the fire and also carrying burning materials around new areas. As the fire spreads, more vegetation burns and also releases the additional greenhouse gases, where larger fire result in greater carbon emissions and as well as environmental damage. And also we can also see why there. So why are forest fires is a concern. So eventually the forest fires accelerate global warming. Forest fires increases the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases. So higher greenhouse gas level lead to rising global temperatures as well. So this contributes to a long-term climate change. So climate change as well makes the fires more frequent and as well as severe. So rising temperatures increases evaporation and as well as dry out vegetation. Drought condition creates ideal fuel for the fires itself. So as a result, forest fires become more common, larger, and as well as more difficult to control. So they also destroy habitats as well as reducing the biodiversity. So fires can as well kill all the plants and as well animals directly. So many species will lose their food sources, nesting areas, as well as their shelters. So some rare or endangered species may struggle to recover after severe fires occur in the forest itself. So they can also cause, this forest fire can also cause the air pollution that affects human health, where smoke contains fine particles and harmful gases. Exposures can also cause respiratory problems such as asthma, bronchitis, as well as lung irritations. And this also can create so poor air quality that can affect the communities far from the fire sources. So eventually, this forest fire can also decreases the soil fertility. So intense heat destroy nutrients and beneficial microorganisms in the soil. Burnt soil become more vulnerable to erosion by wind and rain. Reduced soil fertility slows vegetation regrowth as well as ecosystem recovery. So eventually, these forest fires and global warming are closely linked. Climate change increases the risk of forest fires, while forest fires releases greenhouse gases and destroy carbon absorbing the forest further of global warming as well. So this creates a continuous cycle that threatens ecosystems, biodiversity, as well as the human being itself. So that's all for my part, and I will pass it to the other member to present their part. I think I will pass it again to my other member to present.
Senia, open your mic.
Okay. Thank you, Bridget. I'm going to explain the third point, which was industrial activities. What is industrial activities? Industrial activities refer to all process carrying out in factories and industrial to produce goods, service, and energy. This including manufacturing product, generating electricity, producing materials like steel and cement, and processing chemical. Industries are very important because they support economic growth and provide products that people use in their daily life. However, these industrial activities also have a major impact on the environment, especially in impact of global warming. So, how does industrial work? Industrial activities give a negative impact to global warming, mainly through the burning of fossil fuels. Factories and power plants burn coal, oil, and natural gases to produce energy. When these fuels are burned, they release a large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is one of the main greenhouse gases responsible for trapping heat into the atmosphere. In addition to fuels burning, industrial process such as cement producing and cement producing, steel manufacturing, and chemical processing also release greenhouse gases. Some factories release smokes and waste gases directly into the air without a proper treatment or filtering system. In this industrial waste can also pollute our water and soil, which indirectly affect the environment and ecosystem. As industry continue to expand due to increasing demand of goods and energy, more fuels are used and more emissions are produced. Uh, this is the causes of global warming. And why does industry activities give a negative impact to global warming? This is because industrial activity are major cause of global warming because they release a very high amount of greenhouse into the atmospheres. These gases trap heat and increase the earth temperature over time. As a result, we experience environmental problems such as a rising global temperature, melting ice cap, rising sea level, and extremely weather conditions. Even though these industries are necessary for development and modern life, their environmental impact cannot be ignored. If industrial emissions are not controlled, global warming will continue to be worse. So, to reduce this problem, industries can switch to renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. Also, can use cleaner technology to improve energy efficiency and follow strict environment regulation. That's all from me. I will pass the next point to our next members.
Thank you, Senia, for the great explanation of the industrial part. So now I'll be moving on to the overpopulation. Overpopulation are the another cause of greenhouse gas accumulation happen in this earth. So what is overpopulation? Overpopulation are the situation when the number of people on earth exceeds the environment's capacity to sustainably provide resources. Specifically, it limits our access to food, water, energy, and land for housing and infrastructure. There's a term that we can refer this housing and infrastructure to, which is urban overcrowding, where in cities, areas that are developing rapidly, the citizen may experience housing shortage, traffic congestion, increased living costs, and pressure on public services such as education and healthcare. And overpopulation also could happen due to the lower death rates, improved healthcare, limited family planning access, and needed for laborers in some areas. So, how does this overpopulation affect our earth? So, as the population arise, there will be more people demanding on essential resources. Therefore, to keep up on the high demand, more fossil fuels are burned, forests are cleared for land, and intensive agriculture is expanded. And one of the examples of fossil fuels are such as coal, oil, and natural gas. These fossil fuels that are burned will releases massive amounts of greenhouse gases, which trapping heat in the atmosphere. On top of that, everyday sectors that humans do today, such as agriculture and industrial manufacturing, could also worsen the effect of greenhouse gases by speeding up this emission. Therefore, we as a human who live in this earth, we are responsible to take action on taking care of our earth. First, we need to shift towards sustainable resource use. This means encouraging responsible consumption to reduce environmental pressure and raising public awareness about the impact of rapid population growth and the importance of sustainable lifestyle. That's all for my part. I'll give to the next person.
We will continue to the fifth point, which is vehicle emission. The combustion of fossil fuels such as gasoline and diesel in cars, trucks, buses, and motorcycles, it releases large amounts of greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, in the atmosphere. Due to these gases releases, it will trap the heat from the sun, and it will lead to an increase in the Earth's average temperature. By the number of the vehicle on the road continue to increase worldwide, vehicle emit nitrous oxide and other pollutants that will contribute to the climate change and air pollution. That's why the transportation become a significant source of greenhouse gases. This emission from the vehicle, it will contribute to increased risk of respiratory disease, cardiovascular problem, and poor air quality. Furthermore, climate change it can caused by excessive greenhouse gases. It will lead to a rising sea level, extreme weather events, and distortion of ecosystem. That's why we need to reducing the vehicle emission through the use of transportation like buses, taxi, and carpooling. Also, the use of fuel efficient vehicle like electric car and vehicles that are pure are good to the environment. Uses of renewable energy sources such as wind energy, water, hydro energy, and sunlight energy. This is essential to mitigate global warming and protect the environment. I will also continue with the conclusion. Okay, what that I can conclude is global warming is primarily caused by human activity that increase the concentration of greenhouse gases, which is carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This human activity it releases colossal amount of carbon dioxide, while deforestation reduces the Earth's ability to absorb this carbon dioxide. This activity destabilizes the natural balance of the Earth climate system, and it leads to rising global temperature. Therefore, by understanding the causes of global warming is so crucial that the effective action can be taken to reduce greenhouse gas emission and protect the environment for future generations. Thank you.